talking about her journey there. When did you start to think this is someone who could be a defensive player of the year, and how did you react knowing she had won?
Well, you never know in terms of awards that are voted on by media members who aren't necessarily well trained in defensive concepts, et cetera. So you don't know how the votes are going to go. But I can tell you, and Lan, you remember this, the first day of practice in 2024, first day of training camp, when I watched Lan and Fee move together defensively, right? As a team, we really, TU stood out too that day. Court, we're still working on standout days but that was the first day. And I remember sitting with Lan, we were at a birthday party and sitting with Lan, and the trust was immediate. And I just said, do what you do. There's a lot of times we'll have schemes and we'll say to Lan, you know, you do what you think is right. There's that much trust there. There's that much instinct for what she does. And, you know, it feels great that Lan goes from roadblocks to just blocks. Wow. Just blocks.
I might steal that one. Thank you.
I thought you were doing it. You were going roadblocks. I was like, she's going to hit him with that. So I took it from you.
You know what? I was setting you up there.
That was nice.
The assist. Lan, for 2 seasons, you've been playing out of position and guarding some of the superstars in this league in the post. How did embracing that challenge and what has been asked of you lead to this moment?
Yeah, I think when you're guarding some of the best players in the league, night in, night out, you have to have a thick skin because they're going to do what they do, you know? Like, there's some amazing players in this league where you could play the best defense you've ever played in your life and they'll still score. And so I think it's about just being persistent and just trying to make an impact. And that's kind of how I approach defense, is just trying to make an impact no matter what the outcome may be, and doing it every play. And I think that's like a personal goal of mine, but it's also the team goal as well, and that's why we've had the impact on defense that we've been able to have.
Coach, there's so much that goes into being a great defensive player, but what have you seen behind the scenes in terms of her preparation, her dedication to being this kind of defensive player and being recognized this way?
Well, I think Lan spoke to it. She's highly competitive. I told her this year after one of our games, might be one of the most competitive people I've ever been around, one of the greatest competitors I've ever coached. So it starts there. She takes great pride in her matchup. Her instincts, her positioning, her intelligence allow her to be in great spots to take advantage of, either keeping someone from catching it. We didn't even talk about deflections yet. We've talked about block shots, but keeping her player from catching the basketball, playing the schemes the way we need them to be played. We just have tremendous amount of trust, and you know, we're not in the position that we are today, advancing in playoffs and being a contender, being in the finals, and you know, a poor call away, matter of fact, on land that would lead to a championship without being, and Fee and I had this discussion, once we get our defense up to being at the top, we will be a championship contender. I didn't necessarily know that when we signed Land that it would catapult us so quickly into that space. But the chemistry that, you know, Fee last year, Land this year, obviously our perimeter, our commitment to our defense, it's the reason why we're sitting here talking about the possibility of a championship.
Lan, your teammates have sung your praises this entire season. It's come up so many times. The number of times you've saved them on multiple possessions throughout the year too. How much have they also played a role in supporting you and uplifting you to get this award?
Yeah, I mean, this has come up so many times recently, but we all operate off the power of friendship. And I know we laugh about it and it's kind of like a running joke, but I actually truly believe that like a group of people that just like each other, enjoy being around each other, translates so well to on court. And we're able to hold each other accountable. I hear from Courtney often about the things that I need to do better, and I can do the same thing for Courtney too, and that kind of spreads across the whole team. And so I think, you know, when you have so much joy in what you're doing with the people around you, you can only be successful in that.
Coach Reeve, last question before we open it up to media here. You touched on her IQ. We know how tough she is as well, but how do those two things combine to make such a great defensive player? And you talked about even denying the ball into the post, the deflections as well, all culminates in what she was able to put together.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lan personifies, we say this, we collectively want to be hard to play against. Lan takes that on, right? She personifies that notion of every possession be difficult to play against. Her will greater than their will to do whatever they're trying to do. That's what Lan personifies.
All right, I think we're going to open things up to media here in person. If you could just wait for the microphone, and we'll get going.
Lan, you've always been very open with us about the roadblocks you had to go through to get to where you are now, getting cut in 2022. How meaningful is it to you that anytime a talented player gets cut from here on out, whether it be training camp, mid-season, off-season, that your story will be one that's told to those players as a testament to perseverance and pushing to find a place in this league?
Yeah, I think it's really important to lead by example, and I've thought about this along the way. I've had a chance to reflect on what I've had to do to get here, and I think I was speaking about this to a friend of mine the other day about just not staying bitter but getting better, and and I think not allowing setbacks to define who you are in your career. And so that's always been something that I think I've unconsciously been able to do. I haven't really had to think hard about it, but I think being able to set that example for others and be an inspiration and remind others that setbacks don't define your future, and that your journey is your own personal one. No matter what happens, there's still opportunities, chances to get better.
And Coach, from your perspective, what does an achievement like this for Lan say to young players everywhere?
I guess you can go from being cut to DPOY, is what it says. And Lan just told her story. I mean, it's all in how you handle situations and, a strong belief in yourself. And knowing who you are, I think that's big. And Lan's journey, I mean, sometimes you have to go through that to be able to reach this. And so I'm just proud that AlannaSmith is a Minnesota Lynx, and super proud that this honor was bestowed upon her. And we love our white deer.
We'll let that one sit for a little bit. Lan, a lot of kind of why people really enjoy and love this team is the kind of people behind the players. And I remember about a week ago just asking you how life is going, and you mentioned that you're writing your thesis for your master's degree and reviewing coffees and everything else. Just, what message do you have to say to people that have a lot going on in their lives and want to be, successful and make these type of achievements?
Yeah, I think especially in sports and as WNBA players, people don't realize that we are humans off the court as well. We have stuff going on that no one knows about and that no one will probably ever know. And I think we all go through our personal challenges and battles, and it's just about being able to do hard things. And I think there's possibility to be successful and do hard things at the same time. And so I think this season for me, it's been personally really challenging in a multitude of ways. But I'm really proud of myself of being able to, ride out the hard times and still perform even though I'm experiencing hard things. And I think I wouldn't be able to do it without the people around me, but it's possible. You can be successful and still be enduring, and I think it is about your support system and who's got your back, and I'm really lucky in that I've got a team behind me of phenomenal people that I've been able to lean on.
And Cheryl, you talk a lot, with roster building about kind of avoiding the disease of me. How does Lan exemplify that? I mean, she seems like one of the most selfless players on the team.
Yeah, no, that's well said. I think Alanna's also one of the most compassionate people for others. And, you know, when we were going through this, Courtney, you remember our conversation? I leaned into Courtney a little bit, tell me more about Lan. And she was like, oh, we need Lan. You know, like, I'm coming in, we got to get Lan. I'm going to see what Lan's doing. And then their chemistry, you could see what it is. I mean, like the collective communication back and forth. Lan's just respected by everybody, who she is as a person. That selflessness, obviously, is a key ingredient to our success, to our culture. And again, it's you know, by design, and it's it's obviously, it's not a coincidence that Lan's been able to achieve this, as well as our team be able to achieve our success together.
It was mentioned before, the idea of sort of playing out of position, and I don't know how long you have to play out of position for it to just kind of be, you know, position, but like what was kind of the initial like vision or conversations between both of you guys about, you know, the vision for, you know, that role that you would play in this team?
I actually remember you telling me that I was going to play the 4.
Well, Fee is the 5. You just have to guard the bigger player. Yeah. You're the 4, and Fee's the 5.
We did have an initial conversation just about like roles and stuff, but I think what Cheryl touched on before is just that initial trust that was built between us. And not only did Cheryl have trust in me, I had trust in Cheryl and respect for what she had to say and her instruction. I think just based off of her history of success and just the type of coach that she is, like when she says something, you listen. And so I think that's I think that's also a reason why we're so good, is because we've got, you know, this amazing, well-decorated coach that we all trust and that we follow instruction and it works. And so when Cheryl told me, hey, I need you to guard centers, I said, yes, ma'am.
And that trust ran deep, because there was a game last year in the playoffs, and her matchup was 6'8", and Lan was having a hard time. And at halftime, we're going off the floor, and she goes, could I get some help? And I said, no, you're doing great. This is part of the game plan. And she trusted, and we went on to win that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Lan, this question is kind of related to that. Cheryl said a couple of different times that the reason that you've accepted this defensive role and haven't really complained about it is because you like Fee so much. How accurate is that?
It's fairly accurate, yeah. No, I think, you know, Fee's one of those players that it's an honor to play with. I think not only offensively, but defensively too. I mean, she was recognized last year as Defensive Player of the Year, and that didn't change this year. She's still a great defender. And so being able to play off of her and around her in whatever ways that complement each other, I think we've made it work really, really well. And I feel really grateful that I'm able to play with a player and person like Fee.
One other thing about your defensive ability that hasn't been talked about yet, you're able to defend all these bigs generally without fouling. How long did it take you to learn how to do that?
A long time, I would say. I think fouling was an issue that from college has plagued me. But I think the last couple years I've learned to just adjust. Each game is different. I mean, you can see it across the playoffs in each game, how some games are really physical and other games are called really differently, and you just have to be able to roll with what's going on for that game. And so I've finally got it through my skull that that's something that I have to do to be able to stay on the floor.
Can you talk about how you learned of this? We've seen the video, the surprise, how it was set up, how surprised you were, what it was like, the emotions, etc.
Yeah, I actually got a call from Kathy the day before the game. And this is going to sound really bad. I don't have Kathy's number in my phone, and I don't typically answer numbers that I don't recognize. So I declined the call to start off with, and I didn't know it was Kathy, and then she immediately texted me, and then we spoke, and it was just like I said, it was really surreal. It didn't like hit me fully, I think, until I sat in that room and that video came on the board, and it was a big shock to me. And you know, as a non-American person whose family is as far away as you can get, to be able to receive a message like that in a time like this was really special. And I think like it caught me by surprise. And it just shows just like what an emotional journey this has been too, like to be able to get here and be recognized for it. And so, yeah, to receive that message and have it organized by these guys was, yeah, like I said, very special.
What was that like for you to arrange all that?
I didn't do anything. I think the idea was brought to me, and my role in it was to, you know, be kind of stealth with it. And you know, we were getting ready to get into our scouting report, and so we're going, okay, let's watch a little bit of video. And so shout out to the ideator. I don't know who, but we've got a great team with some great ideas. Who are we pointing to? Olivia? Way to go, Olivia. Give it up for Olivia. Give it up. And it was turned around quickly. And so your family was available. They jumped into action. And so we knew it would be special. So it was a tremendous idea.
Any other questions from in-person media here? All right, I think it's time for photo ops here. Thank you so much, Head Coach Cheryl Reeve, AlannaSmith, and everyone here for joining us. And congratulations, Defensive Player of the Year.